Hey everybody, it's BJ.
And Patrick.
And we're back talking all things real estate, and it's headline day.
Oh, excitement. What's hot in the news today?
Let's talk about what's hot in the news today. So this is an article on BNN Bloomberg, and the headline reads, Canadian home sales post October surprise as buyers flood back.
Surprise, it's a costume party.
Surprise. All the people who were on the side, no, not all, but a number of the ones on the sidelines are now jumping in, is what they're saying. So
Right, because we've been sitting around waiting on the fence. At least this is what the news has been saying. Like there's been steady sales.
Yeah.
But not we're not breaking any records.
Well, and I think to come back to that, we've been saying this from the start too, is as the interest rates go down, at some point the buyers are going to get back in the market. And as they do that, the prices are going to be the things that adjust, not the interest rates. And so, now, if you can, now is, and if you still want to do it, to move, to buy or sell, and you can do it, now is the time to do it. Because in 6 months, I think, this is my opinion, I think in 6 months, it's going to be like hair straight back.
Yeah, it's going to be fast.
Yeah.
Well, 3 consecutive reductions in a row, plus the jumbo supersized one, right?
Yeah.
It sort of built up positive buyer sentiment.
Yeah.
So we can have like confidence in the market that you buy a house today, that it won't be less money, worth less money tomorrow.
Sure.
Even if you don't sell tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
But you don't feel like, then there's a little bit of a sense of urgency to buy now. Instead of waiting, thinking like, oh, well, it's going to be more money tomorrow. But if the value is dropping, then you have no sense of urgency to buy it while it's going down.
Right.
You want to catch it before it goes up.
Yeah.
So, we've been repeating this for so long.
So here we go. Canadian home sales rose to their highest level in more than 2 years. Talking about the interest rates and so forth. Okay, here it is. Transactions surged 7.7% in October from a month earlier to reach the highest level since April of 2022. According to data released, so this isn't guesswork in this one, this is data released by the Canadian Real Estate Association. So,
we pay those guys, don't we?
Yeah, right? But it's interesting that the benchmark price for a home actually went down 0.1%.
Oh, on average across Canada.
That's right.
Yeah.
So, we have something else now in the works that we don't know what it's going to do to the market, potentially in Canada anyway, is the proposed, whether it happens or not, at least at this point anyway, there's talk about the tariffs in the United States.
Oh, it's hard to keep track. Is it 10%, 20%, 25%? It almost seems like as the week has gone by, I've heard 3 different numbers, all from the same news outlets.
Yeah.
And anyhow.
Yeah. So that I say that to say there may be some effects from that, depending on how that plays out on what happens in our market. In terms of the interest rates and the cost of construction and these kind of things. So, but let me continue on from here. So last month's housing data suggests the market response may already be taking hold. While prices dropped in October, other data suggests that the market seems to be tightening. Numbers of new listings fell 3.5% in October, partially reversing a nearly 5% surge in new inventory in the previous months. So I think part of that too is we are starting to see some of these condos get either come off the market or get bought, and most of those are in Toronto and in that area where we talked about all the development and everything that was going on.
Right, because sales are, I don't know, it's like a really record low since, I don't know, maybe 2008 or something like that.
Yeah.
For condo sales, of course, there's more condos available that have been built over the last that many years. So, okay. That makes sense.
So let me continue on. This is a quote from James Mabey, the chair of CREA. Okay. October's strong sales numbers across Canada. So it's not just one province. He's at least pointing out that the sales numbers seem to be rising across the whole country. October's strong sales numbers across Canada suggest buyers have been in the market since rates began to fall in early summer, but they were waiting for the right property to come up for sale, which didn't happen in a big way until September. That was his quote. BMO strategist Benjamin Reitzies said that the strength of the housing market in October supports the view that the central bank will likely cut its rate by 25 basis points at its December meeting. So
Interesting. Yeah, I've heard opposite, but I'm happy. There's still talk about the interest rate coming down.
yeah, so I think what they're saying is, look, we're finally seeing some benefit from the rate cuts, right? And these are, in theory, these are smart people that are at the Bank of Canada, that they understand these rate cuts don't take effect immediately. It takes, we know it's 6 to 12 months or longer before we see the actual repercussions of rate cuts or raising rates.
Right. Recent historical evidence would suggest otherwise.
That it's not 6 to 12 months?
No, they don't wait for a reaction.
That they don't wait, yes.
They do consecutively,
Yeah,
raising
bang,
the
bang,
interest
bang,
rates.
yes, yeah,
Right?
yeah, for sure.
So,
But-
no, as much as they might be, they might have all the expertise, intelligence around these topics, like sometimes their behavior doesn't match up with
Yeah,
some of that information.
yeah. But I think the thing about this article, and one of the things why I wanted to talk about it, is we're starting to see what we've been talking about this for the last year or longer, and we're finally starting to see the repercussions that we said were going to be coming, that the market was going to adjust, and that the rates eventually would kick in, and we would see there's a reciprocal between the rates and the pricing.
Yeah, and I think another added factor is like all those buyers that didn't purchase a home because our sales number is going to come in lower than the 10-year average. I'm talking about Victoria itself.
Yeah.
But this could be similar instances across Canada.
Sure.
In various markets, that we might see the same amount of buyers that are holding off from buying come back to the market, all those fence sitters. So we might see a very busy spring coming in 2025,
Yeah.
where we almost missed out on having a spring market
Right.
at all
Right.
in 2024.
Right.
So I wonder if there's going to be like an increase in demand. And what are we sitting at, like 3,000, 3,200 listings in Victoria, which is, hovering around an average amount. We're not undersupplied, we're not
Yeah.
oversupplied.
Yeah.
It's a healthy amount. I'd
Sure.
like to see still a few hundred more.
Yeah,
Yeah, but we might be venturing into tight supply if our demand
yeah,
increases more than what it is now.
yeah.
So just to leave that.
Yeah, and I think, that's where I know I have clients right now that were in the market now because I've worked with them for many, many years, and for some of them we've sat down and talked about it, and they said, look, I don't do well in that. One of them said, you remember what it was like when it was all
Multiples,
crazy and how
multiple
that
offers,
was
yeah.
for me. And they said, that's not good, so let's do something now so that we're ahead of it.
Before that, yeah, you know what? It's already happening. I locked up a house earlier this week, and we had multiple offers the week before. Then we slid in on a collapsed offer.
Yeah.
And then as soon as we figured out it didn't work, there was another, like, things coming back, returning to the market or new on the market that are well priced are selling quickly.
Yep.
Maybe not in multiples every time. So the way I'm determining this, we were looking for a property in a specific part of town. So I didn't really venture outside of that too much. But out of all of the sales that happened, I was still seeing about 20% were selling over the asking price.
Sure.
Now, I can't know for sure if there was a full price sale, if that was, it's first day on the market, I think it's a really good value, I'll give them full price. Like, I'm one of those people, when I bought my house, I was like, I'm not going to argue the price, because 17 years later, I don't care if I overpaid 10 grand, 5 grand, 20 grand, right?
Yeah.
I'm one of those people. But if I see something selling greater than the full price, I'm just going to assume there was multiple offers.
Sure.
So yeah, so there's probably around like a 15 to 20%
I would
chance.
say, I would say I'm starting
at
to
least in
see the
town,
same.
Victoria.
Yeah, I would agree with that. So I guess that's what we're seeing in our market. How about where you are? Because I know not everybody watching is in the Victoria market or on the island, but put it in the comments. What's going on where you live? What's going on in your housing market? What's going on with what you're seeing around where you live? Or do you even pay attention, or do you even care? I guess that's the other part of it.
Yeah, and let us know if you're experiencing, if it's like if you're watching the condo market, what's the condo market like in your area?
Yeah.
Or if it's rural properties,
Yeah.
or detached homes or townhouses.
Yeah.
Because even within one market, like Toronto, you could see like condo sales are way down,
Yeah.
but single family sales are up.
Right. Yeah.
There we go, right?
Yeah. Yep. So, well, thank you for joining us today. If you haven't yet, please take a minute, subscribe to the channel, and give us a like for the video, and we'll see you next time.
Take care.